Yeah, that's a great question, and you can clearly see in the way countries and cities address that issue. There's really two approaches, right? There's I would say the Anglo-Saxon bottom-up approach, where you let things do, and then you look at the problems, and then you fix them, and you iterate based on that. Or you have the top-down approach that would be, I would say, more French maybe, or Latin or Chinese, where the government decides to build cities this way or that way, sometimes from scratch, to accommodate and solve issues that are not necessarily there already, but might happen. So it's two very different approaches, and you can clearly see them in different parts of the world. Even in Asia, where it's probably the most striking, you have countries like, cities like Jakarta, for example, is really the bottom-up approach, where there's really huge issues in transportation, in housing, and then the process of fixing them. But it's going to take a little bit of time. And then you have the other way around in Korea or China, where cities are built from scratch without any people living in them. And once they're built, they're trying to have people moving to these cities. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it's very interesting. So I think the number one area where urban planners and urban designers need to focus on is to be a lot more data-driven. Urban planning has been more an art than a science so far, because it's been more of a static approach. You design a static city or a static neighborhood, thinking that it will work based on your past experience, but you have absolutely no data to prove that, and then you can't A/B test or iterate, right? So I think really measuring traffic flows, pedestrian flows, really precisely understanding what people do in the setup you've built or you're planning on building is extremely important. And we're seeing that really come to life currently. We're seeing a massive instrumentation of different cities with a view to really counting and measuring human flows. Then the other approach is that really needs to improve is a more agile and more flexible urban design. So instead of building definitive and final walls and streets and buildings right away, you absolutely need to go through a temporary period where you build temporary things, right? You temporarily change the direction of traffic flow. You temporarily widen or make a sidewalk more narrow with temporary barriers. There's a lot of things you can do temporarily to A/B test what you're doing. So implement one small change, measure the impact, and see if the change is efficient or not. If it's efficient, implement another change with temporary barriers or temporary builds, and see the impact, and also see the impact on the first changes you made. And then by doing all that in a very scientific and data-driven manner, you can end up in a place where you build a truly efficient new city that is really actually going to accommodate that influx of people. If you don't do that, you're navigating in the blind, in the dark, and you can't really get anywhere.